So we have people from Low Carb Canberra, Low Carb Melbourne, the lifestyle weekend that Tracey ran almost this time last year. And live on Tracey's Health Coach page as well. We have a very special couple of events coming up this month, but this is the first one of our meets. As you know, we had our mental health and mindset conference on the weekend. I have to say it was an absolute honor to put that together and to have the exceptional presenters that we had. But I was so blessed to see so many people and many names that I know come and join us. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart being there on the weekend. You made me feel so proud and honored to put this event together. But tonight is something very, very special. Everybody on this panel knows how fantastic and wonderful meat is. We want to share our journey and some special things that have happened to us by finding an extra wild side. It's pretty wild, hey, going carnivore and telling people carnivore. I've had to explain it a few times to people that no, I'm not cannibal, I'm carnivore. Mm-hmm. So I'm very grateful for the people that have joined us for round one. It's pretty scary starting off on this journey going meat and getting rid of the greens and the color and the rainbow. But within a few days, the way you feel, the way you just take such control of your life and your health by, depending on who you are, just adding meat, adding more meat, or going completely meat. It's pretty powerful. So I'm going to choose the lucky first person who's going to talk with me. So I might go with Natalie because you're sitting right beside me on the screen. Hey. So Natalie, technically we're friends because we're friends on Facebook, but I've never met you.
That's right. I know. Well, I saw you on Sunday, so that was my first foray.
We're like besties now.
Right.
So I think it's awesome because I actually don't know much about your journey, so I'm going to learn heaps about you with everybody else, and I get to ask all the questions. So how did you discover carnivore?
Well, actually, it kind of found me, really. Mm-hmm. So a bit of my background, I'm a clinical psychotherapist, and I've always known that you had to combine any type of psychotherapy work with also understanding how your mind works nutritionally and what you feed yourself, because you can't kind of miss out one piece of the pie. But for me personally, I'd spent the last 20 years kind of, going gluten-free, and just because I know that that's really bad for your gut, taking away grains. But I also come from a bodybuilding background. So I'd also been kind of, I guess, conditioned, and even with my own old style nutritional training, it was just always eat every 3 hours and have carbs with that. And I was counting calories. Literally, I'd been counting calories for over 20 years based on my BMR, maintaining a high carb, low fat diet. And that was just me being in the bodybuilding industry. But then kind of when I'd had some really weird things happen to me in my life, where all of a sudden I had just out of the blue, I ended up with severe idiopathic urticaria, which is literally like a histamine response in your body where your whole body is inflamed, and, you have welts on your arms if you touch them. And so I'd been hunting, and I'd already taken out gluten, things by that, but it just wasn't going away. And then I ended up with these really weird gut pains. And so I couldn't really find anybody through that time to kind of really tell me what caused it or what happened. So I had to put up with that for a year, and then just really through my own trials and tribulations. So back then I wasn't a therapist, so I didn't have any understanding about gut health, what oxalates were, what histamines were in plants, didn't know any of it. But now I do. So through a journey over COVID, I ended up waking up one day and half my face was numb. So I went off to the doctor, and he'd said to me, I think you may be celiac. So I was like, really? I haven't eaten gluten for a long time. But unfortunately, with COVID, I did get a little slack. And that's what caused the neurological numbness in my face. Yeah. So I came home and went, wow, okay, I'm celiac. Now what do I do? You know, what else can I do? I've taken out gluten. You know, I've taken out grains. I don't like dairy. So I'm just like, geez, what do I do? I just didn't feel good either. And I was just Googling like celiac, and it was really funny, actually. I just put all these kind of words in, and I found this little video on the right-hand corner, and it was Paul Mason. And then that was it. I went down a rabbit hole for 3 hours, and I was just totally blown away, because then everything made sense to me as to why I understood oxalates, and then the histamine response. That's what was going on in my body over 15 years ago, but no one would tell me that. So I literally just went cold turkey straight into carnivore. It made sense to me. And so obviously I had the gut transition between the first 2 weeks. But after that, I can tell you, I have never, ever experienced the vibrational energy that a human being can experience by just basically eating meat and fat. And I'd heard it, I'd seen it, I kind of understood it, but until I actually experienced it myself, I'm continually blown away. You know, I've been doing this way of eating now for a year. I've not touched a plant or any carbohydrates at all. Don't need to. I've stopped counting calories. I don't even think about food. I just intuitively know when to eat now, because my body sends me a signal I need to eat. I eat maybe once a day, sometimes twice a day. Just really depends on me getting those signals. So I've had so many clients as well that have seen me change and just go, oh my gosh, what is going on with you? You look amazing. Like your vibration is so big. And it's just such a no-brainer. Like it really just is the most easiest way of eating. But honestly, if I could tell anybody the energy and the clarity in the brain, your brain just is just so alert, and obviously being fat adapted, it's the best way to live. And one thing that I did do, though, that I was very well aware of is obviously with the LDLs and things like that, I didn't go to a normal GP. I actually found a carnivore doctor in Richmond because I didn't know what the response would be. So I'm like, no, I'm going to go find someone that knows what to read things properly. And I found an amazing doctor, and he's just like, he pulled my bloods actually from a year ago when I was actually eating, you know, carbs like sweet potato and stuff like that. And he said my bloods after 6 months were better than a year before of me eating what we call a standard diet.
Well done. Well done.
So I just went cold turkey, mate. Went straight into it.
So what does sort of a day, a week look like? Do you enjoy all meats? Are you strict just beef? What's your
coming from a background of bodybuilding, like chicken and tuna was my go-tos. I have not touched chicken for over a year. It just doesn't satiate me at all. Same with salmon. I've done salmon. My taste buds have changed. It's just not for me anymore. But most of my days I'm, either a good old tomahawk, ribeye, some T-bone, butter. The only thing that I have added in recently is onion, just to see how I responded with it, and I've been fine. But I just don't crave anything at all. And it'd be like saying, you know, I need to go and just have some chocolate, just remember what it tastes like. Not because I'm craving it or because I actually want it. It's just you don't need it. Your body just is like, no, don't need that to function. So today I had 2 meals. I broke a fast. I had sardines. I love my sardines just for the omega-3. Have those every day. And then, I have Scotch fillet and a T-bone. I eat about probably 1 kilo of meat a day.
Okay. That's fantastic.
And I've lost, and this is the other thing why I'm really passionate about it too, because me being a psychotherapist, mental health and value in health is critical to me. So, weight loss is obviously a side effect of eating this way, but I always come to people from a space of put your mental health first, put your physical health first, put your gut first, and get out of your body's way. Let it do what it needs to do, because, I call it the human proper diet, because that's just what we are. And look, if I go out and I want to add something in, I might, or I might not. But I can't tell you, I have never, ever, ever felt better. Even being so fit for all those years, I'm got so much energy. It's phenomenal. Like when I first started, I was ringing my friends going, I have so much energy, I actually don't know what to do with it. And I'm 49 this year. So,
You look amazing. You look really bright. You look really sparky. Like you just look fantastic.
I love it. Best thing ever. I swear to God, if I'd found this 20 years ago, I wouldn't have had to go through all that.
Yeah, maybe sometimes we have to go through those things so we can really appreciate when we find the ultimate and we're really thriving. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you're saying your brain works. My 14-year-old son, I did a lot of really strict carnivore, very high meat fat with him to help him with his learning difficulties. And he came up to me one day and he goes, Mum, my brain just works. I went, what do you mean, buddy? And he goes, it just works now.
How old is he?
Cool. He's 14.
Well, I'll tell you a little story. My daughter's 10. And she started to eat a lot of meat because she just, she's always eaten it. But the other day she woke up and we went to basketball and she came home and she was really tired. And she said, Mum, can I cook some onions and liver? And I'm like, yeah, of course you can. And because we eat liver, I eat lamb's hearts, I eat organ meat as well. But, she was in the stove cooking a liver and some onions, and then she ate that. And then within about 2 hours she came to me and she's like, can we go for a walk? And I'm like, yes. She had just all this energy. But she'll readily cook, a T-bone for herself and liver, and she'll eat lamb's hearts with me. And I've definitely noticed a difference in her groundedness. And that's the other thing I noticed with this way of eating. You're just so grounded and you're so calm and you just, it's phenomenal.
Yep. Totally with you there. You're just in control of you.
Oh, it's hard to even quantify in words. It's a feeling, and I guess until someone has experienced how powerful this way of eating is, you don't really grasp it fully. But I'd be the first person, 2 years ago to think that I could live without carbs and plants. But I'm like, hey, this is phenomenal.
I mean, seriously, coming from a bodybuilder gym background, like it would have been really hard. Like carbs are everything. I mean, you've got to have carbs to grow your muscles.
Well, you know what? I was just like, I can't keep doing this. And that's over COVID. I kind of added in some naughty things. And then when I went and saw Robert, he said, you're actually insulin resistant. That's the problem, because you've eaten every 3 hours for the last 20 years. Humans aren't meant to do that. And he said, highly likely, if you put a carb back in at any point in time, it'll kind of flick your switch and you'll start that thing again.
Okay.
But I've not experienced that since going carnivore 12 months ago.
Well done.
It's amazing.
Well done. Yeah. Oh, that's wow. What a story. That's not a story. I don't even like calling it a story because that makes it just sound like a story. What a life-changing experience. Like, yeah.
It really truly has been. It's really changed my life.
Yeah. And do you maybe mold and shape this in when you're working with clients?
I absolutely do. I actually have an 18-year-old right now that I'm working with that I've referred to, Rob, to get her bloods done because something's not right. She's always hungry and she's got a high carb, low fat diet, and it's mental health for me. So whenever I feel that, I'm like, okay, I need to kind of look at ketogenic, going down that path and, slowly easing yourself into it. But, I'm always that kind of person. Like I know intuitively what's going to work for me, and that's why I just went cold turkey straight into it. That's just my kind of personality.
Oh, well done. Thank you very much for sharing. And it was so lovely to meet you.
Thank you. It's amazing meeting, tribes of amazing human beings that are just trying to share the same message, and the power of this way of eating is just phenomenal.
Yeah, totally. And I'm probably like yourself and everybody who's here tonight, we're here to support anybody. So, if you're finding it hard and you just need to reach out, grab the names that are on the screen tonight and write to us. We'll share a steak with you. I'm not going to have a coffee with you. I'll have a steak with you.
Buy me a ribeye for my birthday present. That'll be fun. That's great.
So who's next, Trace? Have you frozen? She has frozen.
I think she's frozen.
Yeah. All right. So that was awesome, Natalie. So I'm going to just play around with the screen and see if I can get just you, Darren. Trace will come back on. So Darren, we'd love. Yep, here she is. Can you hear us, Trace?
I don't know what. Yay. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but yes.
I'm just going to play around with this and try and have Darren. Darren's going to share his story with you, Trace, and I just want to see if it's. If it takes me out because I'm the host and no one can hear anything. Can somebody let me know, because I've never done that before, so I just want to play around with it and try and have you two on the screen.
Oh, there's three. I can see you, Darren. Oh, look, it's me and Darren.
Oh, there we go. Hello, welcome.
Hi, Darren. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, Houston, I can hear you.
Yes, okay. Sweden, 12 votes. Oh, sorry, wrong contest. Go on.
Oh, I was going to say, I hear, I've never met you. I met you last night over a chat. You reached out to me and I was like, who's this guy? This is awesome. Yeah, I love meeting new people. I hear that you have a pretty incredible story.
Looking back, yes. But walking through it, I went low carb of all days, New Year's Day 2016. So what's that? Just gone 5 years. Mentally broken, at work, really, really bad, abusive work environment and other stuff. And I crept up to over plus 200 kilos. So I had psoriasis covering my body of 80% percentile. I used to sleep in the spare room and have a sheet wrapped around me and sleep on towels and stuff. I'd take 3 shirts to work and change shirts during the day because of the bleeding and stuff like that. I'd wake up in the middle of the night at, say, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be shaking. So I'd go and have, half a litre of milk out of the fridge, and the only thing that would cure it. So, guess what? Non-diagnosed type 2 diabetes sitting right there. So a friend of mine, of all places in Thailand, said to me, have you tried low carb? You look pretty sick, mate. Are you okay? I said, well, no, I'm not really okay internally and in the head and everything. But, and he said, have you tried low carb? Diet doctor. He said, I live in Thailand. He lives in Thailand, sorry. And he'd lost about 7 or 8 kilos on it, even in Thailand. So I thought nothing of it. I thought it's another fad. I tried about 10 different diets. And even at the time, I was getting a diet tablet called Reduce from my tailor in Thailand. I just bought 400 tablets that morning off my tailor, Indian tailor of all things, as a diet tablet. So, you're at the end of your tether when you're buying something off a tailor from India in Thailand and not getting a prescription for it, So you don't know what's in it, what's it doing to your body, what's it doing to anything, So that's how desperate I was. So I went cold turkey on the 1st of January 2016. I just went low carb and I started the Diet Doctor 14-day meal plan. And it was witchcraft. It's actual hocus pocus witchcraft. We did it in 14 days and I'd lost about 6 or 7 kilos in the 14 days. And I said to my wife, oh shit, what do I do now? What do we do now? We're out of meal plan for the 14 days. Yeah. And I said, let's do it again. So we did the same thing again. So we had the burgers and the shepherd's pie and and the chicken, the chicken pesto, and so the month goes by, and I'm down 9 kilos, and I go, this is witchcraft. It's just there's something wrong here. What's going on? So I started looking into it, and in the meantime, after about 2 weeks, I got enough of my brain back that I said I can't go to work anymore, and I was driving home, and I was looking for somewhere to. I had a bad day. I was looking for somewhere to, finish it all. How could I do it? So I rang a friend of mine, and he was a lawyer, and funny enough, he answered his phone, as no lawyers don't do, but for some reason he did. Yeah. And he talked me home over the Westgate Bridge. Talked me for 40 minutes on my phone. He didn't give up, and got me home, and then got me to the doctors, and then I went to the doctors, and the next day I was on workers' comp, and that was it. So I had enough now. So after 2 weeks, my brain started coming back, and after the month I'd lost 9 kilos, and I started just doing stuff, like I started researching it and getting into podcasts, and because I was at home and listening to and trying to learn the science about it, what was happening to me. Mm-hmm. So then, things go to May. I eventually go back to work in May. I dropped 30 kilos in 5 months. So everything was going, and it was getting there, and it was just starting. And I started fasting and stuff. So everything was going along great. The November the year later, I do a 10 kilometer run. I'm still 155, 160 kilos. I do it in 46 minutes, and I think it's the best thing in the world. And stupid me, I go, oh, that's fantastic. Let's do a 10 Ks. You can do a half marathon. You're beauty. So the next year later, I was down to about 125, 130 Ks and kilos, and I did the Melbourne half marathon. Mm-hmm. And then I did it again the year after, and I was down to about 112, 115 by then. So over the 3 years, I'd lost about 80, 85 kilos. And then I did a talk at Low Carb Down Under to the doctors in Melbourne. And I saw Dr. Mason there and a few other things, and he talked about carnivore. And I said, you know what, I'm actually pretty much there. I did the bacon experiments. Have you heard of the bacon experiment? The keto diet. So I did the bacon experiment in the February, 30 days bacon, 900 grams or kilo of bacon a day for 30 days. The biggest thing was I had to cook it at the barbecue at the back 5 kilos at a time because I wasn't allowed to cook it in the house. How much we love bacon, still a kilo a day for 30 days. The house does, does get a bit much. So the family wasn't too impressed. And look, I lost a kilo in the month, and you go, well, that's not much. And I go, yeah, but I lost 11 centimeters. So around my waist and chest and arms. So then I started realizing, who gives a shit about the scales? The best way to make the scales move, there's 3 easy steps to make a scale move. Mm-hmm. 1, you open the window in the bathroom. 2, you bend down and pick it up. 3, you throw it out.
Throw it out the window,
Throw it out the window. Because I had moved the scale in 6 months. So there was times here where I never moved the scale in 6 months, but I'd lost 2 sizes. So, that's the sort of thing your body heals from, within, and the rest of it takes it. So then technically I went carnivore. I said, that's it, I'm going carnivore. Let's see what it's like. I love my steaks. I love my meat. I'm not a big veggie eater. I remember sitting up till 2 a.m. one morning when my mum tried to make me one Brussels sprout when I think I was about in year 9. She said, you're not leaving this table until you eat a Brussels sprout. And it was 2 a.m. 2 a.m. She gave up. Right, yep. She gave up. So the Brussels sprout never touched me. But then when I was keto, I was eating Brussels sprouts. So I went carnivore. So I did my 2 half marathons, 24 hours fasted. So I ran the half marathons 24 hours fasted. So I went carnivore a year before so I decided to do the full marathon in October 2019. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, I'm going to do it. So I did it. Went carnivore, and I never did a longer run than 27 kilometers. And I got down to about 92 kilos. And I did my marathon 30 hours fasted as carnivore, just with water. and it was great. And I came home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I hadn't eaten since about 6 o'clock for Saturday morning. And my daughter said to me, "Oh, yeah, how was your run?" I said, "Yeah, great." And she said, "I've started making some bacon and eggs because you haven't eaten for a while. Is that okay?" I said, "Great." So I had bacon and eggs 30 hours in. And I was back at training. I think I had the Monday off and back at training on the Tuesday. So, it's been the energy level, like we were talking before, is through the roof. I do F45 now, 7 days a week, virtually 6 days a week. Yesterday's session was cardio, and you get a 15-second break between 4 sets, and I chuck in 10 ab crunches as well. So I did 240 ab crunches on top of the 45 minutes. And I'm out training 20-year-olds, 23-year-olds. And they ask me, what am I on? What am I doing? No one can keep up. They just break. In an easier way to say, they just can't do it.
Can I ask how young you are, Darren? How young are you?
Yeah. How young am I? I'm 52.
Yeah, 52 years young. Wow.
52. And I did my first marathon at 50. And put it this way, I couldn't go to the shops with my psoriasis and my arthritis because I was on 10 different medications. I was on drugs called Cilazapirin. Cilazapirin 3 in the morning and 3 at night, and that's a chemo drug. So if you have that, you can't have children within 18 months of going off it. So that's how bad it is. I had I had one of them methotrexate, and I have to have an alarm set up every week to take it once to 15 milligrams maximum, because if I didn't remember I hadn't taken it, I wasn't allowed to take any more because it could kill you if you go over the dose. I was taking 200 milligrams of tramadol a day in the morning. That's 200 milligrams of tramadol, which is a full-on tranquilizer, just to get up to go to work. And I had to time it so that if I took it too early, I'd start falling asleep either driving to work, because it would dampen you down a bit. So I had to do it a certain way, but I needed to take it to get myself going in the morning, to get my body moving, my parts moving, my feet moving, or whatever like that. So that's how pretty bad I was. And then I would have some Mobic, or I would have 15 milligrams of Mobic or 10 milligrams of Mobic a day. Then I'd have painkillers on top of the tramadol in the afternoon, because it'd wear off by the afternoon. So I'd have something else in the afternoon. So yeah, I was on about 10 different drugs at certain times and stuff like that. So now I'm off the 10 different drugs. Once I went carnivore, I have no emotional connection to food in any way like it was before. I just finished a fast for 3 days on the weekend. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday I fasted for 72 hours. Then I cooked myself up some mince last night, and then there's no dramas. For my 50th, I had a 1.2 kilo tomahawk steak. So there's no real. I saw quite a few years ago that if you eat a different food every day, or a different type of food every day, you're 75% chance of more of overeating. So because you might have the linguine tonight, and then you have fish and chips tomorrow night. You mightn't have linguine for 2 weeks. You go, I'll have it again, and I remember that taste, and you want something different every night. So then you haven't had that special pasta for 2 weeks, so you eat more of it, and that sort of stuff. So once I've done that, and just the energy level, and because I had it on keto as well, I was pretty strict keto. Dr. Fecti called me a keto ninja, because I was pretty hardcore. And once I went to carnivore, my energy levels went through the roof again. I get 8 hours sleep, 8.5 hours sleep a night. I can lay down and go like that, just go to sleep. My resting heart rate at night from my watch is about between 42 to 45, 46. So when I sleep, my resting heart rate's in the mid 40s. I have a heart rate monitor on it at F45, and it goes up into the reds and gives you points or whatever like that. Sometimes I can't even get it out of the purple zone or out of the blue. And that I've kind of framed no red zone, so I don't rest on the bikes, rollers, or ropes. So if it's a 4-minute set on a bike, I'll hover on the bike for 4 minutes non-stop, and it only just gets into the red zone. So I'm pretty fit for what I do. And then once I did my marathon that year, I was too skinny, and I've never thought I'd admit to myself that I was too skinny. So I went from 92 and I'm back to about 105, 107 now, and just doing as much, but my body fat's come down, my muscles are there, and that sort of stuff. But I don't, so it's been fantastic. So, like it's been lost about 100 kilos, 105, whatever it is. I never really weigh myself, but back really badly. But when I went to my specialist, I broke his scales. His scales went up to 185, and they broke.
Oh,
so you don't break it when you're at 185. So you break it when you're over 185. So, and Dr. Brunker and a few others I've spoken to, Bruckner, have said, I would have been at least 200 kilos. So, so now I help other people around. I get tagged in or messaged every week. I've got a politician in the South African Parliament I'm helping out. I've got an ex-Welsh Rugby League international player that messages me and asks me. I have people from all over. And my one thing that I say to them, the one thing they ask all the time is, what's your meal plan? And I go, first fix what's above the mouth to control what goes in the mouth. And the rest is easy. It's not about the food. It's about what's up here. And once I fixed that, once I got rid of my depression, a work environment, other stuff, family stuff that I've been holding on to for ages, once I just got rid of it, the rest was just so easy. And that's the main thing.
Yeah. So what is a normal, I don't like normal, but like a typical day? Are you more red meat based? You sort of eat lots of meat? Yeah?
Yeah. It'll be, if I wake up in the morning, most days now I don't have anything for breakfast. And then I'll get some beef mince or lamb mince, and I make hamburgers up myself, so I know what's in them. So it's just the mince and an egg. It's just mince and an egg, and probably if I want to, I'll put a little bit of liquid smoke in it just to give it a bit of flavouring. And then I might have about could anything up to 300, 400 grams, maybe even up to half a kilo for lunch. 3 or 4 burgers. Then I'll come home from work. I'll go and train at F45 at 5:30, and I'll come home, and then I'll have a T-bone. So I get my T-bones now from a good place around the corner, $12.99 a kilo. So he cuts them pretty thick. So it might be a 400, 500 gram T-bone. Same with a rump. I get a $12.99 for a rump, so I get that. I'll get lamb chops. I'll get so it's usually about anything between 500 to 600 grams a night of the steak or lamb chops. So I've just come off 3 days of fasting, and then last night I cooked a kilo of mince, and I reduced it down, chucked a little bit of liquid smoke in it, a little bit of paprika, and then that's it. And then I'll have some. I've got some fermented black sauce, which is a chili sauce, because I love my chili sauce. Love my spicy. And I'll put a bit of that on it, make it a bit spicy. And I had about 600 grams, 700 grams of that last night after the 3-day fast. And then today is refeed day. So today I had 4 eggs for breakfast. I had half a kilo of lamb chops for lunch. And then I had about a 250 gram rump steak tonight with 4 eggs. And then that'll do me now. And then tomorrow night, I've just made a meatloaf. So I've got a kilo of beef mince, half a kilo of pork mince, put a little bit of flavouring in it with some eggs, some garlic and stuff like that. Wrapped it up, and I've got it in the oven now on about 150, and I'll do that for about 4 or 5 hours. And so that'll do about tomorrow night for dinner. So look, I change it up a little bit, but I'll have what I have in the freezer. It'll be in the sink tonight to thaw out for tomorrow night, so I don't have to waste anything. I don't have to think about anything. It's there. It's done. It's and the thing is, I don't get hungry anymore. So it gets to the stage where you think, if I get hungry by 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, I've got to take this to work to feed me. well, I don't have to worry about that anymore because I know I'm not going to get hungry. I still have my coffees. So I'll have about 3, maybe 4 coffees a day with a tablespoon of cream in it. So I've gone from drinking 3/4 of a litre of a bottle of Jim Beam Black on a Friday night watching the football with 4 litres of Pepsi Max to having 4 coffees a day. You know what? Shoot me if that's the worst thing that's going to thing. I had a bourbon and soda. I think at Christmas time I had 2 bourbon and soda for Christmas Day. I think I slept for 2 hours in the afternoon. You know, it was terrible. I hadn't drunk for so long. So I just don't have that craving anymore. I don't have that. I don't have that emotional need. I don't have that depression. I drank because I was depressed. I wasn't. I drank because I was addicted. I drank because I was addicted to the Pepsi Max or the Coke. I wasn't. I was never addicted to the alcohol. It wasn't that. So once I fixed that, the rest of it took care of itself. So it's I've lost a lot of friends. I can tell you now, I've lost friends. My mates I go to the football with, I still go to football with. I don't get invited to things or involved in things. I get told I'm not fun anymore because I don't drink. I get told, we can't go out here, or when we go out for dinner, we've got to look after you first and stuff like that. Or it was, we're not cooking 3 different meals of a night. Early on, these are all the things at work. And we used to have a cake at work for the people's birthday, and it used to be once a month or so. And then some people would tell me, why don't you just have a piece of cake? It won't hurt you, it won't kill you. A piece of cake. Why aren't you socially involved? That sort of stuff. And I go, well, that's fine. I said, but when you were doing Ramadan, I didn't eat my bacon in front of you, and I didn't ask you to have some of my burger for lunch. So you need to respect what I do. And I get over it now. I just brush it off. I tell them, and like last week, they had the boss put on pizzas and garlic bread and soft drink at work on a Saturday to thank us all for the great couple of weeks we had at work, and asked us if any of us had any dietary requirements. Well, he knows I'm carnivore, but I was going to say to him, yes, I'll have my steak medium, thanks. But I didn't. Went back, said no, thank you. I'll take my own. I took my own hamburgers. So, but if I was halal, if I was vegetarian, if I was vegan, they'd all accommodate me. So, that's the difference. It's sometimes you feel like you're a social outcast, but I'll be a social outcast till I'm 100, and they won't be. So that would be the difference. That'll be my enjoyment. When I'm 90 and 100, and I'm still kicking around and playing with my grandkids or great grandkids, and they're not. That'll be my redemption. That's for sure.
Yeah. No. You're amazing. What a beautiful story. I want to ask, what time would you like me for dinner tomorrow night? That meatloaf sounds fantastic.
I'll post it on Twitter for you. It was going to be in the slow cooker, but I didn't put it in the slow cooker. I just put it in the oven on low, and then it's nothing. I'll go get a brisket now, and I'll chuck it in the barbecue at the back, and I'll put it on. I'll go to work. It's sitting at 80 or 100, and then I'll come home, and it'll do me for 2 days. Or one of my favourite recipes is called cracked chicken. Have you heard of cracked chicken, Chase?
I have, but I don't actually know. You explain it to me. I don't know what it is.
Okay. So cracked chicken is a kilo of thigh fillets in your slow cooker, 2 packets of Philadelphia cream cheese, and just leave it overnight. So it'll separate and it'll come back to you. So and about 12 hours later, you get your forks and you pull it apart like it's pull apart creamy chicken. And the reason they call it crack chicken is because when you have some, you're addicted to it like crack. You need it again the next day. So that's why it's called crack chicken. But it's 2 ingredients. It's 2 ingredients. It's chicken fillets, it's chicken thigh fillets, and Philadelphia cream cheese. How hard is it, really? And yet someone's looking up a Women's Weekly, and they got 17 things on the ingredients list, and it's add this now, stir here, 3 times left, 3 times right, bake it, this thing, put it in the slow cooker, put your roast. put your lamb roast in the slow cooker and leave it overnight. Why it goes to go to bed? Let it cook itself.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
put your pork roast in the slow cooker. If I put ribs in the slow cooker or lamb chops or lamb roast, I add nothing.
Yep.
Sometimes I don't even add water.
Yep.
I will add nothing. I'll let the meat do what meat does. And once you let you do that, then, so, you know, if everyone says, oh, I've got to go home and cook, well, I'm sleeping and I'm cooking dinner when I'm sleeping. You know, there's my other 23 hours of the day I can do whatever I like with. I don't have to waste an hour doing cooking at night. You know, I can spend time with my daughter. I can spend time going to the gym. I can spend time going for a walk, you know, because my dinner's cooked. It was cooked while I was sleeping, you know, so it's not hard, you know, it's done. So there's no excuses. That's my thing as well.
Yeah. Can I just say that we are very blessed that you are still here and you're healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been dead. I can tell you now, I would have been dead. There's no doubt.
You're a champion. You're an absolute champion, and I'm very touched right now that I got to meet you tonight. You're a legend, dude. Legend.
Okay. And look, you know, and the biggest thing is, I get the biggest thrill out of my uncle now, who is type 2 diabetic for 35 years, and my auntie who's celiac. They've both gone carnivore because of me. She's virtually doesn't class herself as celiac anymore, and he's not type 2 diabetic anymore, and he's lost 15 kilos, and I'm going to have him for another 20, 25 years.
You're
you know,
amazing.
and
Well
so
done.
I get more enjoyment out of that than I do out of myself these days. You know, so it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you. You're meant to be here. You're changing lives. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you. Okay, where'd Kathryn go?
Gone. Oh, her internet's crashed. She'll come back. And Martin Gillespie's having terrible trouble trying to connect on. We can't seem to see him. So we'll give Kathryn a second, and hopefully she'll pop back on and we can hear her amazing story too, because she's got an amazing story to share as well.
Oh, she's just gorgeous. I love Kathryn. She's done so well. So
yeah. Hey, ladies, I just wanted to add into it. I'd forgotten to say that since going carnivore, I've got my allergies have gone. I had very severe allergies like hay fever, and I used to carry my asthma pump around. I haven't had asthma for over a year now as well. So I've got to add that in before.
That's great. And like I said, I had the 80% percentile or PASI score for psoriasis. And now I went to my specialist the other day and I'm a 0. So I don't have any psoriasis or PASI and PASI psoriasis. And he just, you know, he just can't believe it that's been that. So he thinks it's, you know, I said, well, it's just, I've just gone carnivore now. So all I do is I go in, and my doctor now has gone carnivore. He's an Indian doctor. He's gone carnivore because of me, and I brought him along to the doctors' conference 2 years ago. So when I go and sit with him now, I'll go with my wife, and she goes in for, say, her knees sore or something, and halfway through the consult, he'll bring something out, and he'll go, Darren, is this okay? Am I allowed to eat this? And I look at my wife, and she goes, hang on, I'm here for me. He goes, oh, okay. So he goes back to her, gives her whatever she needs, and that stuff. Says, now, Darren, are we okay with this? You know, so I'm actually consulting someone when I go in to see, you know, so he'll text me and he'll does the bloods and he knows what he's doing. And so, yeah, and he's an Indian doctor in Tarneed out west, and he's full carnivore now. So, you know, hopefully me helping him, and then he's putting all of his patients onto that needed to be onto it. So I think I'm doing something in a little that way, you know, which is reaching more people, which is great.
Yeah, beautiful. Well done, Darren. Thank you so much. Kathryn. Hello. You're on. Hang on. Unmute. I don't know how to. There you are.
I'm done. Okay. So you want to know my story?
I'm good. I would love to know. I do know some of your story because Kathryn lives around the corner from me. So I would love you to tell people your story. You've got an amazing story.
Okay, so I suffered from IBS for, probably 30 years. And I didn't really sort of do anything about it much, really. I just lived with it. Doctors told me it was in my head and all that sort of stuff. And I was working with Tracey McBeath, and I was doing some coaching with her and doing low carb, and wasn't really doing, what I really needed it to do. And then one day I told her what was happening with my bowel, and she suggested I go and see Dr. Pran. Well, that changed everything, because he suggested that I should so I went up and visited him in Sydney, had a consultation with him, and he said, okay, we're going to do colonoscopy and blah, 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 and what else. And he said, but how open are you to going carnivore until you have your colonoscopy? And I said, yep, okay. But Tracey had sort of warned me that he might sort of say that. So I had it in the back of my mind ready to go. Yeah. It was really, really hard at the start. Still is hard some days. And Tracey and I came up with a saying, ride the wave. So I do ride the wave, and sometimes I'm underneath the wave. But so then I had my colonoscopy and everything, and everything was fine down that way. So that was all good. And then Dr. Pran suggested I see Jessica. So I went on and had a consultation with her, and I went on some vitamins, did carnivore, had some blood tests. And my blood tests were terrible when I went up and saw Dr. Pran. That's why he suggested all going carnivore, because he said that everything was very elevated. My whole body was inflamed. My liver functions were, totally out of this world. It was just awful. I had type 2 diabetes. I had high blood pressure. So I was, a walking disaster, really. So I did that, and I did follow what Jess said. We did a review of blood tests 6 weeks later, and nearly every single one of my markers dropped by half. So my liver enzymes were like up to 350. They went down to 160, and it was all because I went carnivore. So after all these years of trying so many diets, I found the one that actually suits my body.
And how do you feel on the inside, and how do you feel with looking in the mirror these days?
I feel amazing. I feel so much healthier. I have a lot more energy. I mean, I've still got a long way to go. I really have.
That's fine. We've all got a long way to go.
I just feel like a different person, really. I've lost about 10 kilos, which is not a great deal of weight, but it's not about the weight anyway.
It's not about the weight. No.
Even though I have to have, a bit of counselling over that part, because I do still jump on the scales and go, oh, no, I just wish I could just get past that mark.
But, you just open the bathroom window, like Darren said, and bend down, pick up the scales, throw it out.
I know, and they would smash. So, like, just after Christmas, I dropped about 2 dress sizes. So, and I actually brought a dress, and that was like, I was in the waiting room, or the dressing room, taking photos of myself and sending them to Mum, saying, I've just tried on a dress, and I've brought the dress, and it felt amazing. So all those little things, but I think you just have to be patient, because it does come off, but you've got to have a lot of patience.
Women, you do, and we're women. We are built differently. Our body, it can get stressed out very easily. So you don't want the weight to it would stress out if we lost the weight too quickly. So we have to go with where our body wants and needs to go. And some of us, there's a lot of internal healing that has to happen. So I love that saying, ride the wave.
I know. And it happens nearly every day. Like, some days you just want to give up, but I still go to my steak at night and eat that. And surprisingly enough, I don't actually get sick of meat, which is really like, I love veggies, but you just don't get sick of it.
Oh, I the only time I get, well, not sick of it, I just know when I'm full or I've had enough because I don't want it anymore. Just, you know what that means? Yeah, you know what that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. It's quite empowering. But do you alternate with different meats? Do you have different things that you enjoy? Do you have some go-tos if you want to have a bit more of a relaxed carnivore meal?
I usually just have minced steak. All I eat really is Scott's
That's
fillet.
okay. I just was wondering. Yep.
I don't really. Oh, well, I have pork belly if I can't be bothered because I'll just cook it and throw it in the oven. No, not really. I don't have anything. Sometimes I'll eat a little bit of salami or something.
Okay.
And a little bit of cheese. Not too much because it doesn't really agree with me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love my hamburgers, which I make myself, and I have that most days for lunch. But bacon and eggs, still don't get sick of bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying.
Yeah.
Sorry, darling.
Sure,
I just wanted to ask Kathryn to share what, with everybody. What's some of the stuff that you get asked a lot? And what are some of the comments that you get a lot? Because I think when you share this, people resonate with it, because one of the hardest things for people is, going against the grain, doing things that a lot of people don't. And I know you've experienced a bit of kickback on that. So can you share with everybody what some of the comments are and how you've dealt with it?
When are you going to give it up? When are you going to stop eating like that? I'm actually not going to stop eating like it because it actually agrees with my body. And I just have to tell them that it's actually said on Friday last week, someone said to me, "Oh, you've lost a lot of weight." I said, "Yeah, I have." And I went to say I've got a new diet that I'm trying. And then I said, "Oh, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that I've changed the way I eat, and it's this is to suit my body." So I just had to, that's the biggest hurdle, is getting, "Oh, but aren't you sick of it? Why aren't you eating this? Why can't you?" And like Darren said before, you do lose friends because no one invites you over for dinner anymore because steak costs too much money. But so I usually just get the, when are you going to give it up? And that I'm not.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to give up feeling healthy. So that's my answer to that one. Yeah. Oh, you're wonderful. Well, you're always welcome around my house for a steak. So.
Okay, thanks.
That's okay.
Same back.
I've always got steak around here. So we had pulled beef, and I had a bit of a treat today. I did in the air fryer, I did a brie cheese, a little brie cheese, and then I did pulled beef on top. So I had steak and cheese for dinner.
Oh, yum! That sounds nice.
It was just a little bit nice. I don't like having huge amounts of dairy, but I just felt like I needed a little bit more fat, and the pulled beef wasn't too fatty. So I was like, have cheese. So I had a treat tonight.
Oh, that's good. And I got discount mince at Woolworths last night, so I was pretty happy.
Oh, well, yeah, that's because I hadn't been there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's just on that, Kathryn. It's amazing, and I say to people now, I say, you didn't give a shit what I was eating when I was 200 kilos. Why would you give a shit what I'm eating when I'm now at 105 and run a marathon at 50? Yeah. So talk to the ham, buddy.
Yeah.
That's about it. And that's where you got to be. You got to be strong mentally. Once you stop giving a damn if you don't eat your auntie's potato salad and you think she's not going to like you after 20 years or love you after 20 years, or you used to go to the market and get a donut with Dad every time, and Dad's not with you anymore, and every time you walk past a donut place you think you need a donut because of you miss your dad. When you can get over those hang-ups, that's when your life changes, and that's your lifestyle change. That's life. Now you're living. You're not surviving anymore. You're living, Kathryn, and enjoy it and embrace it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it has changed my life, and, I've got a few people to thank for that.
Thank yourself.
Thank yourself. You've done it. That's it. People like Trace and me and Pran and Jess, you know, all of us, you know, all we can do is light up the path and sow the seeds. But you're the one that pick it up, and you're the one that actually make the changes. Nobody else can do that. You know, that's such a misconception that, you know, any of us can change anybody. None of us can change anyone. All we can do is inspire and plant the seeds. But you are the one, darling. And, you know, I've known you, you know, for a couple of years now. You have, you know, this has not been easy. You have learnt so much, and, you know, you have so much power to I don't know, you've just got so much knowledge and so much you don't even see in yourself yet. But, you know, it's been an incredible journey, but you have done it 100%.
Yep.
That's
Thanks,
right.
Trace.
And
yeah.
You did, Kathryn, you just got to remember, you're driving your own bus. And I say to people at 10 o'clock at night, when you've either had a bad day at work or the finance or the other bills come in, you know, Dr. Pran's not there at 10 o'clock at night when you look into the fridge for something to eat, or you don't go there. I'm not your inspiration because I've lost 100 kilos at 10 o'clock at night when you've had a fight with somebody, your husband or the partner or the wife or whatever, and you're looking for, you know, cheap snack. You're the one that stopped doing it. You're the one that stopped going to the fridge. You're the one that's changed, you channeled your different emotions to somewhere else, to a state. You know, Tracey didn't do it. I didn't do it. So, you know, give yourself a lot of credit. And that's where we've got to do. We've got to give ourselves the credit and build our emotions and ourselves up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's really, you're correct. You've got to change your emotions around food. But I think it's a ebb and flow between the two. I think as we start eating better, we can start choosing better. And sometimes we're going to have downs, sometimes we're going to have ups. We're going to go round and back in a circle. But I do very, very much believe the better the food that we can get into us, the better the choice we can make the next time. So just keep going. I think it's keto on, and so carnivore on. So if you have a little bit of a mistake, the next meal, grab a steak. So don't worry about the mistake you made before. The next meal, grab an egg, grab a steak, and just keep going and use it as an experiment. I mean, gee, I live with a type 1 diabetic who has Hashimoto's and celiac. Every minute of every bloody day is an experiment. So I give you all permission to experiment. And she is thriving. And we have days where we have the same food. It may have a different response and effect in the body. We are all human beings, and it's going to have the same thing. We just don't monitor ourselves every 5 minutes of all day that I do with my daughter, Ashley. So we are emotional beings that think. Our emotions do rule us. So sometimes we have to face those emotions, then we need to choose our food.
Yeah.
And I think we make better choices with meat. That's just my personal opinion. So, yeah. You three tonight, rock stars, amazing. What a way to start the journey this month. If anybody who has been listening tonight needs anything, I'm sure these amazing people that have spoken tonight are here to help you, guide you, show you to a doctor, to a friend, or they may be there to support you. So reach out. Even if you just want to ask, how did you start? I mean, I get that question a lot. How did you start? I don't actually remember, because all I've ever wanted to eat is meat. I've been doing this 2 years now. And yes, Christmas Day, I had trifle. Oh my God, I ate plants. There's almonds, there's jelly, there's, you know, lots of things. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And the next day I went back to my steak. So I have my boundaries within my days off or my special days. I know what are my limits, and I just jump back on board doing what I'm doing the next day. And I love my lifestyle, and you can see all these beautiful faces here. They're smiling, they're thriving. We just want to help people find their way, and their way meat can be involved in their diet. So thanks, everybody.
Awesome, Trace.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good stuff,
That's
everyone.
right. Yes,
Thank
and to
you.
everyone listening, I think we've sent out emails with our new Facebook link to, sorry, not Facebook link, YouTube link. My husband stayed up till wee hours of this morning creating the event that happened on Saturday to be a much more easier way. Sunday. Why do I say Saturday? Sunday. Something's going to happen Saturday very soon, and it'll be why I say Saturday. So on Sunday, my husband helped me put together the event. Yesterday, he spent all day encoding, changing, making the whole day presentation into a much better way to move through the presentation. So there should be a private YouTube link coming out to you in your email, if not now, soon. So yeah, but thank you. This is lovely. My heart's just bursting.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Great meeting
Trey.
you all.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay, bye.